Alrighty. Mm. Let's refresh this bad boy and see what the heck is happening here. Um, Here I am like, oh, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. And now it's not even going to show up on my side. That's so funny. Oh, happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
We have this saying like around here, like, see you next Tuesday, because all of our shows used to be on Tuesday. And honestly, like, if ever one worked out properly, we wouldn't have to say that anymore, but it's just the way she goes. Oh, it's not showing. Oh, show what is happening for destinations. Well, it's showing somewhere because we already have a comment, but it's definitely not showing up on Facebook.
Okay.
So let's see here. All right, darling, it's up to you what you want to do. Do you want to stay live on YouTube and then throw this back to Facebook after we're done? Or do you want to back out and restart so that way we're for sure going live on Facebook?
It honestly doesn't matter to me.
Okay, cool.
I'm down for just continuing on.
Awesome. Sounds good. Hi, everybody. It's Casey from Pinecase. Tonight is a special Tuesday. We've been talking about Decimate Metal Fest all month, the month leading towards Men's Mental Health Month, Pride, and all of that good stuff. Decimate Metal Fest is going to be happening June 7th and 8th. When I say it is gearing up to be one hell of a weekend, you don't want to miss it. You guys can jump onto decimate.com, the Facebooks, all the links. We'll throw them in the description once we're done. Go and get your tickets. They went on sale. The pre-sale's over May 1st. You can do singles now if that's what you're into, because this guy over here is going to be live hitting the stage Saturday. We're super, super excited. I'm so happy to have you. Thank you so much, darling. STEVE PLANZ, Under the Mountain. Welcome.
No problem. Happy to be here.
How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Are you over on the island?
Yeah, I'm in Nanaimo.
Oh, that's my old stomping ground. I born and raised just a little north of that in a little beautiful shithole called Campbell River.
Oh, I love Campbell River.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's definitely, when I think of the island, it's kind of the spot where I gravitate towards. It's the salmon capital and a couple other capitals and things like that. I heard you know, it's going through hard times, but we'll see a revolution here if we can get this mental health and music collabs going on, because festival season is hitting the island hard this year.
Yeah.
Do you have other festivals happening over there other than just everything on the mainland?
As far as I know, I don't know of all the ones. I don't think, but there's like Rifflandia, and I think there's a couple country festivals, Sunfest, and I'm blanking on the rest, but
No, it's all good. There's like Blackberry Jam too, but is there any like festivals specific to metal music over there?
I don't think so. Not that I've heard of. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
bigger, at least. There
Yeah.
used to be the Vancouver Island Metal Fest, but I think COVID kind of ate that up.
Well, that's better reason for everybody to come and hit it up in Millet, Alberta in June.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It looks like you got a little love. Sean says, "Love your vocals, man." Calico's right here, stoked on the new single. Can you tell us about the new single and what was the idea behind it?
Sure. So, I mean, before COVID happened, a lot of the music that we were writing was more simplistic. I mean, we were younger, we were in our early 20s, and writing about, partying and drinking and all that. And then COVID happened. I mean, obviously, way later, but I was stuck at home. We weren't jamming anymore, and I was kind of going a little crazy, and that's actually a lot of the lyric content in that song. I actually wrote, it's the only song, the only Under the Mountain song that I wrote all the parts for because we couldn't jam, so I just had to be creative. But yeah, and so I kind of just got weird, and that's what came out.
Well, we like it when you get weird, that's for sure. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. Um, I'm surprised to hear that's the first song from beginning to end because it seemed like your vibe, it carried over like into the other music leading up to this. So you must have a pretty decent relationship then with your bandmates.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're all really close. We hang out quite often. Even though Andrew he lives down in Duncan, but we make it work.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And we're happy that COVID's definitely come to a dull roar. When the world changed, it was interesting to see what was going to happen like with the music industry. I know like Napster and all that stuff kind of changed it too, but I feel like a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of like heartfelt, interesting, weird, celestial, interpretive, like all sorts of music came out of COVID for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. So how long have you guys been doing this? Like I mean, we got tunes up on YouTube from like 9 years back. Like has it been kind of the same group of dudes this whole time or like what does that look like?
The original lineup lasted, I want to say about 10 years.
Mhm.
Our drummer moved away, and then our bass player and us had some different ideas, so we kind of separated. But our current lineup is rock solid, and I couldn't be happier.
Very cool.
Yeah, but I think we've been a band since 2010. We've been playing shows since 2011.
When you guys get together, like I know that jam sessions are super intimate and it's all good, but do you think that you guys produce kind of like the best when and this is kind of a weird question, but I'd like to know. Do you guys work well like when you're all together in the same space, or is it like someone's writing, lyrics and one's writing the music on the back end and one's coming up with maybe the imagery, or like you guys kick it hard when it's like all in one space?
That is a bit of a tough question. Like we've done it all, and yeah, it's. I'm not sure what's better. Lately, I've been liking writing on my own, but when we actually do come together and collaborate, it's always amazing. So it's hard to say which is better, but and once there is a song like I said with this one that I wrote all the parts for, I mean it's not the same as when I wrote it. All the guys collaborated with what I did, and it's a totally different beast. So
Yeah, it's so neat. Like I wish more artists would release kind of like the song as it evolves, right? Like as a consumer, we only get the finished product, or usually we only get the finished product. But it'd be really neat to kind of see like the rough draft and then like watching it transform. I think it'd be neat to see like bands do that with their YouTube channels, maybe take advantage a little bit of like that as a platform and welcome us in, because a lot of the times when you write a song, it's not it's not even close when it comes out, right? Like
yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason is we're like, no, don't see it yet. It's not ready.
right.
But I know what you mean, and I'm the same way when I listen to other bands that I listen to. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Sean says demos can be pretty cool sometimes. Yeah, they can be pretty cool. It's neat.
yeah,
I mean, I can understand from an artist standpoint. I'm not an artist myself, so I'm like, I just want to see all the moving parts, but I can appreciate when you're like, no, man, like you need it dialed in and put it out, and it's like all of its perfection and stuff. So yeah, I can definitely appreciate that
yeah.
for sure. How long have you been doing music?
Pretty much my whole life. My mom had me in piano lessons when I was maybe even like as young as 5.
Oh, wow.
And then my older brother's friend was playing a guitar when I was, I think, 13. We were out camping, and I was just fixated. And he actually sold me my first two guitars, and I've never looked back. And yeah,
Oh, that's so awesome. Everyone starts with piano lessons, hey? It's like mom's dream. And then it turns into like your dream, right?
it's a very good thing to start with. It's very visual, and I still play the piano a little bit, and not
Do
as good
you?
as I was, but
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. I think I played like one, I don't know. My dad tried to teach me like Falling Away from Me by Korn like years ago. I think it was, I don't know. I don't want to date myself here, but like, yeah, it's like still in elementary school, right? So whenever Korn was totally happening,
right.
I think I learned that song, and then that was kind of the end of the skills. That and like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and that's like the extent of my music knowledge. So when it comes to the piano, anyway.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you said you're not an artist.
Yeah. Well, I had two moments. I had a recital with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and a pretty rad moment with Korn. Korn's one of those bands though. It's like level entry, you know what it is. Like I don't know if you're into Korn much, but I feel like that's kind of like if you're gonna start with the heavier stuff, it's like how everybody it's like the gateway drug, right?
Right. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of that catchiness to it as well, and the funny little vocal things, and
Yeah, all their isms, right? Like Jonathan has like his whole isms, and then the kind of poke at like mainstream stuff, right? With like Shoots and Ladders and I mean everybody likes a good bagpipe. So yeah, they definitely know what they're doing when it comes to selling records, that's for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What kind of who inspires you?
Oh man, I don't know. It's I started off with classic rock, and there was a lot of punk back in my younger days. Got into Metallica really hard in high school, and Clutch was a big one. These days, one of my biggest influences is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
That's
And
awesome.
I find. Oh, just a question. I meant to ask this earlier. Are we allowed to swear in here?
Fuck all day long, bud.
Awesome. But yeah, so my biggest inspiration from them is the fact that they seem to just not give a fuck
Yeah.
what they put out. They're like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, who cares? Yeah, and I mean,
I feel like that's like metal in a whole, right? Like the minute that I mean, it is metal in a whole. Is not giving a fuck, right? We're already have the pressures of society. We're already, we've said enough of that shit. This is what we're doing. And then we throw on what we want to throw on because it doesn't really matter what you're wearing as long as it's clothes, apparently. And that whole attitude runs all the way through it. And I think that's what's so freeing about metal music, which I'm so excited to be a part of Decimate Metal Fest and to have all of you awesome fans come and show us the way. I honestly think that metal music should be pushed harder, almost as like a curriculum. Like it's just not respected very much when it comes to like music lessons and things, right? Like they kind of hit on all the other genres and then leave metal alone.
right. Even though a lot of the best musicians out there are metal musicians.
Some of the best lyricists, period, come from metal, in my opinion. Like, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
it's crazy. Like it's so funny. I keep talking about my grandma, but for you guys, you didn't hear our pre-story, but I was chatting with my grandma earlier about you guys because Black Velvet came on and she was like, "Oh, like who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, come check it out. Come over to the dark side for a minute." But it's interesting because if you put mainstream lyrics, like everybody knows Black Velvet, right? And if you put that over top of a different genre of music, people can still appreciate it, right? And I feel
Right.
like that's kind of your guys' music in a whole. Like, I've fallen in love with Under the Mountain because it brought me back to a time where people weren't really worried about like the political aspects of music and things like that. Like, there was a time where like hair bands just didn't give a fuck, just like you were saying. And that's kind of the vibe. I don't know if that's what you guys are going for, but that's kind of the vibe that happens when your music plays. There's this very like elating feeling. You just stop giving a shit, you know, like your shirt kind of hangs a little bit lower. You maybe crack a beer and like, I don't know, man. It's like tailgate music at its finest. I was like, this shit's pretty rad. Like, it's easy to listen to, and you got grandma's stamp of approval today. So
Cool. Well, thank you very much. That's great to hear.
yeah. Sean says, I hear tons of influences in your vocals. I love how you merge the greats like Planet, Planet Duo and Lemmy. I feel like, I don't want to say that I feel like Lemmy's in all metal music, but he's got a pretty hard stream through you guys. You feel like that's probably a fair statement there from Sean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Also, he could be referring to Miles, our other guitar player, vocalist. He sounds fairly like Lemmy, actually. He's kind of grumbly and mumbly, and actually, he sings lead on a couple songs on this album that'll be coming out, and it's very almost like harder Lemmy, actually, heavier vocals. I'm really excited for those to come out too.
Very cool. There's nothing wrong with that, that's for sure.
But yeah, Robert Plant was probably my first vocal inspiration, and I was just like, I want to sing like that.
Yeah, not a bad choice, that's for sure. Very cool. Well, you do sing like that, right? And that's why it brings everybody back to that time. When I posted about it earlier or yesterday, I was like, you guys wanna, like, you feeling old these days? Like, do you want to go back to a time when you just didn't give a shit? Like, you know, like, here, like, jump on this time traveling machine, because it's not a hard statement to say that that's definitely what your music does for people.
Cool.
Killa Callie says, when I teach guitar and bass, I always teach metal. Yeah, good. Yeah, fucking right.
Right on.
Yeah, one for the metalheads, honestly. Like, it needs to be talked about more often. Over at Pinecase, when we talk about music and mental health, we talk a lot about like music lessons and having the right instruments to like get you through what you need to get through. And I feel like with metal music, and I'm sure you can relate, like just the art of like screaming can be so therapeutic that it's like it's so undervalued in that. Never mind everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah, for sure. Which I don't do a ton of, but it is nice to break into that.
Yeah, I didn't find a lot of that in your guys' music, which again I can appreciate too, right? It's easy listening to, like, not that music should be background music, but there's some value in it when it comes to like radio play, and you guys definitely you guys hold like a nice vibe throughout the day for sure. Like I said, it's from hitting the stage and throwing up horns right down to like just day-to-day stuff. I dig it big time. Super excited for your guys' new single.
Really happy to hear that. Thank you very much.
Do you guys have anything coming up other than Decimate Metal Fest?
Well, we are releasing this guy. This is our upcoming album, and yeah, vinyls will be available June, actually basically for the tour that we're going on, where we're playing at Decimate. So we'll have the vinyls with us at the festival. And so we'll be slowly releasing singles off of that album, and yeah, it's something really special to me. I haven't released any music that can even compare at all to how excited I am to release this.
Wow, that's super powerful. Do you ever worry about like exposing that part of your personality? Like, do you feel that it's like a vulnerable thing to do to release music?
I do. I absolutely do. But I think the thing that kind of pushes me forward is um, just the fact that the things that I've been through, I I want people to hear it because I want people to know that whatever you're going through, you can you can get through it. And that's I find a lot of the music that I write these days, at least, is very much like that. And I've actually been pushing myself more and more to try to get that out there. So no, I don't worry about it.
Good, we're glad. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's music's one of those things where like, we can all kind of connect with it, or when we do connect with it. So yeah, again, like as a consumer, because that's all I can speak about is it's like it's so important for me to let you, or I feel it's important to say like we appreciate your vulnerability in those moments, and to to let the people in a little bit, because there is a ton of people out there that maybe don't understand that they're not alone in some of those feelings, right? Like
Yeah.
um, yeah, so it's nice to be able to connect with the music, and it's one of those, it's a universal language.
Yeah, exactly.
Calico says DJ Lion's already begging me for a signed vinyl from you guys. Oh,
I know we used to have some silver Sharpies. We're gonna have to get some more of those. But absolutely.
yeah. DJ Lion's actually opening for you guys Saturday.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, he's a 10-year-old DJ. He's actually just north of you guys, not too far on the island. And yeah, he's going to be packing up his gear and heading out. And he's going to be, his sets during pancake breakfast. So he's going to be opening up Saturday for you guys to totally crush it.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so cool to see like young kids come up in the scene, right? And he's like a metalhead through and through. I don't know if you guys seen his promo picture, but I think I can speak for his mom a little bit when she was trying to figure out which pictures to send, because he's DJ Lion, so he's got his setup, but at the same time he's a metalhead. She's a metalhead. She, like she was saying, she does uh uh bass and guitar lessons and always teaches metal and stuff like that too. So I'm like, I wonder what people think or what to expect when they see this 10-year-old kid, right? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's pretty rad. He's pretty rad. I actually
Cool.
interviewed him just the other day.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, pop his stuff up here pretty quick.
Yeah, we
Very
have
cool.
a show the day before the festival, so I'm hoping that we get there at a good time. But I'm hoping to see quite a few acts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you guys are rolling in, you're gonna try and roll in Friday?
No, we have a show in Salmon Arm on Friday.
And
So
shameless, like shamelessly plug it. Like, where are you playing in Salmon Arm? What's going on?
I'm gonna have to look it up. I've got the list of I got the list of all the places right here. Salmon Arm is Solid Urban Studio.
Solid Urban Studio. I'm not sure
Uh,
if I've been there before. Salmon Arm's pretty bitchin' though.
is it? I haven't been to Salmon Arm, but
Yeah, yeah, they got a pretty happening thing going on. Not a ton of, not a like a ton of clubs or anything like that, but the couple that they do, like people definitely show out for. So it should be a pretty good scene for you guys there.
cool. Um, I have some
Yeah.
family that live there, and apparently that studio is kind of on the outskirts a little bit.
Mm,
But
okay.
yeah, they're putting us up there, so sounds like we might be a little rough coming into the festival.
Yeah. I will all be a little rough coming into the festival. I think it's been a lot. There's been a lot going on. Everyone I talk to is like, we're touring on the way out there, or we're touring on the way back, or, we got there's just a lot of people throwing out releases lately. There's been singles coming out, the woodwork like crazy from everyone. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know what happened. If it's like the new year, new you thing, but 24 has been a pretty happening year for music all the way around. So,
yeah, and I mean, like I said before, like all of the music that we had written for this album was written either before or during COVID, and so it just didn't seem like the right time to release yet, and it does now. And I feel like everyone else is kind of thinking the same thing, and the music is coming alive. The whole scene seems to be really blossoming right now, and I've been out to see tons of shows this year already, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's totally wicked. There's and like our like I don't know if you've been checking out what's happening with Decimate, but we got fundraisers coming up. There's going to be one this weekend in Edmonton, May 18th. Um, Going on. It's the same thing, right? So we got a bunch of really cool people that are going to be donning the stage. Brainstem. I always say this, and I want to say this properly. Repulse, reprise. It's like a what is that called? It's like Dr. Seuss every time I try and say that one. But yeah, there's a couple good bands that are being going on, and there's another fundraiser happening May 31st in Calgary, the same thing. So even just the fundraisers for Decimate Metal Fest have been putting together like wicked shows on the go. Like I definitely agree with you on when we talk about like um, blossoming scenes. We need it though. I think
Yeah,
we've all just been craving for it, right? Everybody's ready to like go cut their grass and hear some tunes and get the hell out of the house, whether it has to do with COVID or not. But
yeah, for sure. It's funny because COVID ended quite a while ago, but it seems like the scene just kind of laid dormant for another year or two or however long it's been. Which
yeah, well, I do you think that's maybe scare tactics a bit? Like, I feel like it was even though COVID ended, the fear never really ended, right? Like, and then we were kind of picking and choosing what the reasons were to go out for. Like, if there's not, if nobody's playing, then there was no reason to go out, and then you just kind of get caught up in that cycle, right? Like, if artists
yeah,
aren't doing their thing and people aren't buying tickets, I mean, I'm sure you guys probably felt it on the other end, right? If there's no one streaming on YouTube, then there's no reason to put up content, or if there's nobody buying merch, pardon me, then there's no reason to put out merch, right? Like so it's kind of that thing, right? Everyone battened down the hatches, and then it took a while to kind of dust off the film that came with COVID. Like I don't think
yeah.
music is the only industry that felt that, right?
No, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I also feel like, I mean, I'm actually a bit of a like I did the same kind of thing. I kind of got comfortable in my own place and not going out. And
Mhm.
I was thinking like as soon as we can start doing shows again, it's going to be crazy. But then I was kind of like, yeah. And obviously other people were too, and we played a bunch of shows and it was just kind of a flop. And but
Yeah.
I do really feel like it's really making a comeback now. So
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. What other things do you do in a day other than music that makes you want to get outside? Let the people in on a little bit what happens in Steve's land. Like,
sure. One of my very favorite things to do is get out on my kayak. Um, there's a do you know the dinghy dock? Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Is that where you're hanging out?
uh, I go there quite often. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's a $10 boat ride, or else you can just paddle on over with a kayak or whatever kind of vessel you have. And so I get out on my kayak quite often, head over there, paddle around Newcastle Island and stuff, and every once in a while I'll just find a beach, crack some drinks, and sit there for a while, paddle back.
Yeah.
That's
That
one of the perfect days in my life.
that sounds like a perfect day in anybody's life, to be honest. I miss the island so bad for that. I've been out in Alberta for a little while now. But yeah, there's a lot of cool spots on the island for sure. You ever head out towards Tofino at all?
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while, but I mean, I've my family moved out here basically because of Tofino, so we've been out there quite a bit, me and my family.
Oh no way. That's pretty neat.
I
Yeah, I
like
feel
to
like when
say,
everyone
sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to be like, when everyone goes to the Fino, then all the locals go to Yuki, right? Like,
Yeah, that's actually where we've been going lately because Tofino's a little overrun these days. But I was gonna say I'd like to say I'm a surfer, but I try to surf. I'm not a surfer.
Okay, hold on. Much like me being an artist after playing like one corn song, anyone that's willing to try and surf is a fucking surfer, man. That is the hardest shit I have ever tried to do in my whole
It's
life.
so
Like,
hard.
it's crazy hard. Yeah, I don't know. I met this guy one time, actually out in Calgary, at a music show, of course, and he was like, I'm gonna take you fishing or whatever. And I was like, dude, I'm from Campbell River. Like, you can't take me fishing in Alberta. Like, what are you talking about? And to make a long story short, we ended up in Tofino, and yeah, I don't know. We ate some mushrooms or whatever. And I don't know if I thought that I had like all this upper body strength that didn't exist or what, but I was for sure that everything was going to be okay. And it for sure was not okay. So yeah, anyone that's ever like even tried, I would 100% give them the title, because that's no joke. That's for sure.
Well, I imagine surfing sober is probably a lot easier than surfing on mushrooms.
Yeah, yeah. I tried that as well, and it not. I mean, it's all the same, really.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a little less like, glowy, and I don't want to say less beautiful, because obviously it's absolutely gorgeous out there, but yeah, it's a little less like orby and spiritual maybe, but at the same time I'm sure it's all of those things when you're sober as well, because it's pretty epic out that way, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really is.
John's got a question for you. I don't know if can you see them on your screen?
Yeah, I can. My brother's actually going to that show, but it's I don't like to say this very often because it's a very unpopular opinion, but I've never liked Fu Manchu.
Uh-oh. Oh, like there's nobody in the studio, but I also felt like there was like a cricket moment. That's so funny. Like the internet switch.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
they've just never done it for me. But my brother's super stoked to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I honestly, if I'm being candid, I'm not so sure if I know who that even is. So I'm gonna have to check it out.
I think they're one of the originators of like fuzz rock or fuzz metal or
Oh wow.
I mean, I really like the music and everything that they do, but the vocals I just can't really get behind, and that's usually a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, that sucks. There's other bands too that are like that, and you're like, the music is wicked and the vocals suck, or vice versa. Like, I've heard some pretty deadly vocals lately. Actually, I don't want to talk smack about anyone, but there's a band on the island who've got wicked vocals, like deadly. But she needs a new hangout spot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's like, oh. Yeah, that sucks when that happens.
I can't think of who that might be.
Well, I don't want to say nothing because I
No,
don't
of
want to hurt
course,
nobody's feelings.
of course.
I don't know. There's only so many female artists out there, right?
Yeah.
She's not in the metal scene though. But she's around you though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Calico says, but did you die, Kalisha? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Did I die? I've been less scared breaking stallions for Wetaskiwin native rodeo than I was surfing in Tofino.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I've definitely never done that, but I feel like that would be pretty scary.
Oh yeah. I don't. It's like moments in my life I probably shouldn't talk about, but at some point there was not that long ago. I ended up working colts actually for the Indian rodeo out here. That kind of led me down like a weird road of horseback riding, cowboys, and then it turned into like native drumming and kind of powwow circuits. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, the foot in the door there was pretty bizarre.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah. Sean loves you. Hey, what's going on? Lachinga is another great band out of van. I think you guys must have played with them, eh? Have you ever played with Lachinga?
Yeah, yeah. We're. I mean, I wouldn't say we're good buddies with them, but we played with them a few times. We've seen them pretty much every time they come through, and they are super awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like the metal scene is pretty intimate over in Vancouver area? Everyone kind of looks out for each other, or what's the vibe like out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know too many metal bands from Vancouver, but we're really tight with a few of them, and everyone, yeah, super supportive of each other. And I mean, I feel like that should be the way that any scene is, because that's the first thing that I learned being like a gigging musician, playing with other bands. The first show I ever played, I'm like, okay, we got to be better than everyone else. But like within yeah, you realize you're putting on a show for the fans. You're not there to compete, and you got to work together to put on the best show possible. It's not about being better than anybody, and I feel like most people get that.
Yeah, that's what I mean earlier when I say like metal is a way of life, and I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. Maybe that's the way it should remain because I feel like there's kind of um, that personableness that comes with like not everybody knowing everything about metal, which is why I like it so much. But it's interesting because I know Decimate got a little bit of flack there about a few different things that were happening at the show, mostly drag queens, but we won't get into that. But once you kind of dip your head in under the surface of metal, everyone is pretty loving. It's like, um, we can sit here and talk about the outer shell of it or whatever, like the long hair, the spike belts or whatever everyone's dressing in these days. I don't really know, um, but everyone's so chill and so loving and so supportive. I don't know if there's another community, especially in music, where everyone is just like in it for each other. And you said gigging in general, so maybe it is like that. Maybe that is the way it is. But I've had a bit of an experience, in other genres of music, and it just doesn't feel as welcoming maybe as metal. Like you guys are all pretty rad.
Right. Um, yeah, I kind of do my own like acoustic kind of thing too, and I've played with quite a few solo like touring musicians, and it's definitely the same kind of vibe. People like, especially when you're a solo musician, I feel people are very appreciative of any kind of support, trying to communicate, or not communicate, but connect and set up shows. There was a few guys that came by Nanaimo about a month ago, I guess, and I set up a show for us, and they were like super thankful, and yeah, it was a whole great thing. But as far as I know, uh, music scenes are all very supportive of each other, but maybe especially metal. It's kind of hard
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big statement, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think like as a mom, I've taken my kids to like maybe not super heavy metal, more rock, but like Five Finger and like stuff like that. And in this moment, a couple of shows like that, and it's like they're not curated to be kid family friendly events. Obviously, some of them are all ages, which aren't the same thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a fucking play group or whatever after school. It's a show, right?
Right.
But at the same time, like I've taken them to those shows and felt like, safe and everyone's cool. And I mean, one show, this guy who will ever remain like uncle, right? He was like, "Oh, fuck, throw a kid up on his shoulders, you're like throw the horns up or whatever," right? So it's like, yeah, it's an environment that I feel safe in. And actually, we should talk about this. Decimate Metal Fest is all ages, and there is a conversation, excuse me, that was getting brought up and kind of thrown around a little bit about it being like family friendly and what the difference was and I don't want to get too much in the politics of it, but I think it should be addressed. It is an all ages event, like we said earlier. Decimate Metal Fest, DJ Lion, he's 10 years old. He just had his birthday there. He's going to be adorning the stage and rocking out and all that good stuff. But there is definitely a difference between being like a family friendly environment and an all ages event, right? And so I think it's important for for parents and parents of even just the artists as well to know like the difference, right? So we're all cool, we all know what's good, but I think when things are being advertised as family friendly or all ages, that the language may read the same, but the situation is a bit different. So with getting all that shit out of the way, feel like I paid my taxes a little bit there for Decimate. What's your experience with all ages event?
I absolutely love all ages. We don't do them enough because we're a bar band, or at least we have been since we started basically. But we've done, I would say on average like one a year, all ages shows, and they're always so awesome because there's like that age group between, I would say, like 16 and 19 where the kids are going nuts and they just love it. And we've actually we've met some really cool people at all ages shows, and like my good buddy Austin, I met him at an all ages show before he was of age, and now he's a big part of the music scene here.
Yeah.
And I really love, it's almost like I don't know if that would be like paying it back or paying it forward, but just kind of keeping the scene alive,
Paying homage, man. Like,
yeah.
And
if kids are into it, then yeah, let's give them some good times and some good music.
Yeah, that's such a great way of looking at it. I never really thought about that part of it. I was all like hyped up on the security part and all that stuff. Like, what does that event look like? But it's so important to make sure that these young artists that are coming up, they have a place to mingle and kind of socialize and network with, not only great inspiration, but a lot of their like idols, right? Like as we kind of turn into I think Mo Mashiri said it best, like the elders, right? The elders of our communities or whatever, because we're not getting any younger. I know I got a couple gray hairs shooting out the side of my little afro here. We can kind of open up those doors, right? And as long as there's all ages events, it's a great place and a great way to be able to offer that up for the next up and comings, right? So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Very cool. I keep saying very cool like it's something when you get stuck on a word for a while.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's driving me crazy. My last one was 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. Like, shut the hell up. Like, it's so I don't know why. And as someone who does like podcasts, I know it probably is painful on the other end of it. So I always know when my word changes like throughout my episodes. I'm like, oh yeah, that was during the A1 or the 100% era or 100% whatever it is. It went through like everything was appropriate. Well, it's appropriate. Like, it's so stupid. Anyways, enough about me, more about you. Very cool. So you do rock out acoustic a bit. Like, do you do that completely solo? Can we just find that under your legal social security, BCID, and passport information?
Yeah, just look that up.
Very cool.
I haven't released anything under that yet. I do have an album. I've got a whole demo album all done. So once I actually hit the studio, which I'm hoping to this year, but I should be releasing a solo album in the next year or so. So that'll be cool.
That would be really cool. Very awesome. Well, I'll be looking forward to it for sure. Just make sure you let me know so we can throw it all over Pinecase. I don't know if you know what we do over here, but we definitely love to talk about not just local, but musicians in general, we honor dudes because we don't think that you guys get enough credit. You guys get enough credit in the music world, but you don't get enough credit in the mental health world. I don't know about you, but I've lost a few friends over the years for a multitude of reasons in a multitude of ways. And so as long as there is music and mental health issues, then we'll be here talking about it. So we'll be happy to hear anything you got. Just let us know about it.
Cool. You mean like right now?
Yeah. So I'm shameless tonight. I'm just plugging everything. I'm like, oh, you guys want to hear about this? Want to hear about that? Let's
No,
chat about it.
I've kind of prepared myself for this because obviously I knew it was a mental health kind of podcast, so I figured I should kind of put you through the journey that I've been on.
Please.
So obviously throughout my upbringing, I've always heard of mental health issues, anxiety and depression and stuff, and I've never lost anybody like super close to me from that kind of thing. But I've always heard about it in high school and everything, and kind of deal with things here and there, but it was never anything serious. And it wasn't until like my mid-20s that I started dealing with some very severe anxiety, which this is another thing that has definitely gone into my songwriting. But I'm not sure exactly how old I was, but I had my very first anxiety attack, and I thought I was definitely going to die. And I made it through, and I was like, what the hell just happened to me? And so I kind of did some research and discovered that that was an anxiety attack. Nothing's actually wrong with me other than in my head, and so so the more research I did, the more I I freaked out a little bit, because the first thing I read was this never actually goes away. We just find ways to deal with it. And so that wasn't okay with me, but of course I learned how to deal with it. And I think it was more of almost like a subconscious effort of mine to just train my brain to not go to that place. I still feel those triggers, but I can just kind of move. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't really know how to explain it. It's like a different thought path that I've kind of trained my brain to do. And like I said, it was almost like a subconscious effort. I knew what I had to do, and it eventually kind of just happened, almost like a manifestation.
Yeah, very cool. It sounds like exposure therapy is what you trained yourself to do. A lot of the times, especially with anxiety, anxiety is one, unfortunately, that doesn't present itself all the time. So it's one of the ones I don't think gets enough awareness, and not enough people talk about it, because it's one of those ones that is very easy to dismiss. Because a lot of the times it's not like, shooting up a building, or it doesn't look like drugs, or it maybe doesn't look like self-harm or whatever, right? Some of the other ones that kind of get a lot of awareness. But it is just as serious, because it can be debilitating and extremely uncomfortable and terrifying for the person that's experiencing it. And and unless you can find healthy ways to kind of walk through it, there really isn't a way to, there's no cure for it to speak of, right? And so the idea is to find a way to kind of like face it, and then safely get yourself to the other side. So if you were able to accomplish all of that on your own, it's pretty impressive, actually.
Thanks. I think I was very fortunate that it did kind of happen later. And I knew what it was like to not have that, and I was just like, nope, nope, nope. I am getting out of here, basically, doing whatever it takes. So, and that's kind of why I feel for people that have been dealing with that kind of thing their whole life, like that kind of really blows my mind. And if that's kind of all you know, then how do you know there's anything better? But I really like to share this story because I really want to put it out there that there is a way past it. There's a way out. Like, I'm proof of that.
Yeah. I'm grateful that you shared that story, and thank you so much. I have a ton of youth on as followers. I have nephews and nieces and godkids and kids, and we do lots of public speaking, and I share lots of clips and reels and things like that. And it's just one that doesn't get talked about enough. And so thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. If I can speak for pretty much everybody when they say that. Yeah, appreciate you sharing your story, and appreciate not only having the experience, but also showing that it's like, okay, like it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily the coolest thing to deal with, but it's definitely cool to talk about, right? Like, if we don't talk about it, then it becomes bigger issue. So thank you.
And like when I was in it, like when I was really in the shit, it created more anxiety to talk about it. So yeah, it's it's shitty. It's really shitty. But yeah, I just want to get it out there that there's a way through.
Yeah, that's so cool. A lot of people use music as a way to like relate, right? But sometimes it's just nice to hear it straight from another person that looks like them, that acts like them. That I think a lot of the time we kind of hear it in a curated way, like from, say, Health Canada, which, I mean, we're certified through AHS, so it's not that big of a deal. It's still going to all the right places that it needs to, but I definitely is important for everyone to see people that look like them and talk like them and act like them, to speak on things like that. Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Very, very cool. If you guys haven't already, please go and check out, go jump on. I definitely have your link up for Spotify. It took me a hot second to figure out how to share from Spotify, because that's not the easiest thing to do either. Not that I should compare that to mental health things. It's terrible, but it is up on the Facebook page. I'm sorry. It's up on the Facebook page. Go and check out Under the Mountain. It's beautiful. You guys are going to hear hints of everything that we've talked about tonight and more, and lots of cool stuff to rock out on. I think that if there is any other platforms that we can help get your music out there, please let us know. I know you spoke with Calico on the way in. She's actually Killer Callie. I don't know if you can see her up there. She says, thank you for sharing this with us. Yeah, that's Calico Hunt. Anxiety is not a joke. I also have challenges with it. It has been debilitating. Good for you for finding a way to get through it. Yeah. And it's not always necessarily a way to get through it. So we're obviously happy that you found that, but also just keeping the conversation moving for some of our viewers. I think it takes all parts. It takes the conversation that's happening right now, and the conversations that aren't happening, and the liking, the sharing. And that's why we've linked music with mental health, because they go together naturally. A lot of the music. And the music tends to be kind of the symptom and the cure, right? So.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like you used your music a little bit through that time? Like you talked about it a little bit earlier on, but is it something that you definitely, when you were kind of going through it, in the shit of it, the fucking thick of it. And when you say that, like, I know exactly what you mean. I think we can all relate to like a moment where like, fuck, man, like, you know, like, do you feel like that's like the best music that you wrote ever, or is that you still have a lot of that still in journals and stuff?
When I was in it, like it was debilitating enough where I couldn't write, but like when I was kind of, well, I mean, when I was in it, it wasn't always constant, but and in the times that it wasn't like completely there, yeah, I wrote one song in particular that was, it's still hard for me to play. I mean, it's a hard song to play in general, but it's hard for me to play just because it brings me back to that time, and it makes me feel anxious. But at this point, I kind of like it because I know that I've made it like not made it through, but I can deal with it. I can handle it now, which I
Feel triumphant. Yeah, fuck yeah,
when I
that.
was there before, I'm like, no, I need to get rid of this. I can't deal with it. I need to get rid of it, and yeah, it just comes down to a way that you can deal with it, and you're stronger than you think you are, and you can handle it.
Yeah. Well, I'll toast to that.
Me too. Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I could sit here and chat with you all day, but if there's anything else you want the people to know before we wrap this up, please feel free.
I should probably plug this one more time.
Okay, please and thank you.
Our vinyls up for sale. We got our pre-sales on utmband.com. We have the vinyls for sale for $40. They're a double vinyl. Comes with a lyric sheet, and we also have a combo pack. This is the back. We got Angela to do this one, Gramuza, and yeah, so we got a combo pack with the t-shirts for $60, and stay there. Yeah, I guess that's about it. utmband.com.
Okay, let me put it up so that way that everyone can see it on the go around. So utmband.com?
Yes.
Perfect.
I figured I should plug that, but other than that, yeah.
Awesome. So once you guys are done at Decimate, where are you guys headed after that?
We are headed to Prince Albert the next day, doing a show at the brew pub there. And then we're doing... I'm going to have to look it up again.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. It's 9 shows in 9 nights. So we got Prince Albert the next day, Medicine Hat, Invermere, Cedar, Kelowna, Vancouver, and then back home to Nanaimo.
Very cool. Where can people find all this information, Steve?
Well, utmband.com is probably your best bet. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok even, all the
Very
things. Cool. YouTube.
Awesome. All right, perfect. Well, before we go, I'm going to quickly give a little blurb and then I'll send you off, my dear. Thank you so much for joining us. I so appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was my absolute honor, honestly. I always love to see a face from back home. It's nice to be able to chat about the water and just normal people stuff for a little while. Obviously, there's always going to be a conversation heavy like mental health and music, but just to be able to shoot the shit is invaluable to me. So thank you on a personal note. If you guys haven't already, like I've said a few times now, please go and check them out. Honestly, I was outside in the garden crushing it today and just had it bumping, and honestly, like between my grandma and my neighbors, you definitely have a few new fans. So we played it without hesitation, and I know you guys will enjoy it too. So thank you so much. Again, it's Casey from Pinecase. I'll see you at Decimate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank
Till
you so
then, my
much.
friend. Ciao. What are we doing this Saturday? May